Story 1. School was out for the summer, and senior year was finally over. High school, man. Good times for few, bad times for most. Me and my two best childhood friends, Pete and Jack, were on a cross-country road trip. We were starting in New York and heading all the way to California. We figured it would be the last hurrah before we went off to college in the fall. The night in question was an extremely hot night. We were cruising down the main highway in my 2004 sedan. We were alternating driving, and I just so happened to be behind the wheel. Pete saw on his Maps app that there was a shortcut in the area. We could take some back road and shave a half hour off of our drive. Without giving it much thought and tired from a long day of driving, I turned off the main highway and onto that back road. The back road was a one-lane road and passed through a desolate area. Both sides were surrounded by woods. There were also no streetlights whatsoever. On top of that, the road was unpaved, and years of decay left it very bumpy. I drove down the road slowly, trying to minimize the impacts of the bumps. "Pete, what road did you bring us on? This is killing my car," I murmured. "Sorry, man. Just keep driving a few more miles. Maps didn't say this road was garbage," Pete replied. We continued down the road for a few more minutes. The bumps became progressively worse. My small sedan was pretty old, and it was not meant for these types of roads. I decreased my speed even more and continued driving. After a few more minutes, we saw two headlights around 300 yards back. Finally, I thought to myself, some other people on the road. As we continued to make our way down this seemingly never-ending road, the headlights slowly came closer. I was going less than 30 miles per hour, so I wasn't alarmed. After another few moments of driving, that other car was around 15 feet behind us. Now that it was within view, we could see that it was a large beat-up pickup truck. There were two men in the front seat. Suddenly, the truck put on its brights. They lit up our entire sedan and made it very difficult to see. I was going very slow, so I sort of understood why they gave us the brights. Unfortunately, my friends didn't share my sentiments. "What gives, man? What is this country hick doing behind us? Let's show him how New Yorkers settle things," Pete declared, looking back at the truck behind us. "Calm down, guys. We don't even know where we are," I replied. "Oh, screw that. This guy's a piece of garbage. Probably married to his sister," Jack yelled. Following his outburst, Jack opened his window and flashed the middle finger at the truck. After flashing the finger, the truck turned off its brights and slowed down. "That showed him," Jack declared as Pete gave him a high five. We continued driving down the road for a few more minutes. The road kept getting bumpier and bumpier. My car was now going around 10 miles an hour as I tried avoiding the bumps. Suddenly, a dark vehicle with its headlights on was right behind us. Cloaked in the dark of the night, it really snuck up on us. It was clearly tailgating. Almost instantly after we noticed the vehicle, it turned on its brights. It was the pickup truck that had followed us earlier. Apparently, Jack's sign language made them very angry. The truck continued to get closer and closer to our car. It started furiously beeping at us. "He's right on top of us," Jack screamed as he stared at the pickup truck behind us. It was hard to see too many details due to their brights, but it was now clear that both of the drivers were wearing ski masks. Unsure of what to do, I decided to pick up the speed. We had only 2 more miles to go on this road, and then we would be back on the main highway. So I thought that we would be able to get away from these psychos quickly. As I drove faster, my car seemed to fly inches into the air upon encountering each bump in the road. "Drive faster!" Pete screamed as he glanced at our pursuers. "I can't! The car will break down!" I yelled. The pickup truck was even closer now. It could not have been more than 1 inch away from my bumper. I picked up the speed even more. I was now driving more than 60 miles per hour through this completely unpaved road. The car started to make violent noises as it encountered each bump. Suddenly, the pickup truck rammed us from behind. It was a hard hit, as if the driver completely floored it into my rear bumper. My car jolted forward and swerved off the road. I broke as hard as I could before the car hit right into a tree. The pickup truck passed us and continued down the road. Besides a bruise on my face and a totaled old sedan, we were relatively unscathed. After recovering from the shock of it all, we called a tow truck, and our trip ended there. We never bothered to call the police, as we didn't get the truck's license plate number. Stupid, I know. The moral of the story is, when driving, be careful. You might feel like a tough guy behind the wheel, but you never know who is behind the wheel of the other car. It might be someone normal, or it might be someone willing to end your life. Story 2. It was my sister Charlotte's first year of college. Her winter break just ended, so she had to head back to campus. She went to school a few states away, and I had to take a business trip to the same general vicinity of her school. Seeing that we were low on money and flights were expensive, we thought it would be smart if I drove us both. It was a 12-hour drive, so we planned to drive straight through. My plan was to drop her at school, help her unpack her things, and then head to my business meeting. It was especially dark and cold on the day we left. My sister attends college in a nice city, but we had to pass through a relatively unpopulated area on our way there. After driving for a few hours, dark clouds engulfed the sky. A few minutes after these clouds rolled in, it started snowing. The snow continued to get worse by the hour. We didn't plan on spending the night in a hotel, but Mother Nature left us no choice. We weren't really familiar with the area, and the snow was getting so bad that I could barely see, so we had to go with whatever we saw first. A few minutes later, we saw a dingy old motel in the distance. My sister and I grew up in very humble circumstances, so we didn't mind sleeping in such a run-down place. A large sign displayed "The Great Escape" in green lights in front of the parking lot of the motel. I parked the car, and my sister and I walked to the front desk to get a room. The lobby was completely desolate. We walked up to an empty reception area and rung an old call bell on the counter. A balding, obese man slowly walked out from one of the back rooms. He was wearing a wrinkled red uniform with big glasses taped together with masking tape. He had a big smile on his face, displaying crooked, coffee-stained teeth. He looked like he hadn't showered in weeks. What a loser, I thought to myself. It seemed that Charlotte agreed, as she nudged me and grinned as the man began speaking. "Hi, young people. How might I assist you on this beautiful day?" the receptionist said in an all too enthusiastic way. "We are looking for a room. We got caught in the storm," I replied shortly. "Okay, you two can get room 309. It has a brilliant view of the beautiful parking lot," he responded, waiting for a laugh. "Yeah, whatever," Charlotte answered sarcastically. The receptionist handed us a key card and we were on our way. We grabbed our stuff from the car and headed into the room. As we opened the door to room 309, we were greeted by the smell of mildew. The room seemed to have been empty for quite some time. It had 2 twin-size beds, an old television, a large brown dresser, and a small bathroom. Seeing that we were both tired from the long drive, we put our things on the dresser and laid down. We watched the nightly news and quickly dozed off. Around 2 hours later, I was awakened by a forceful push. It was Charlotte. She seemed worried. "What now, Charlotte? I gotta get some sleep," I murmured. "Somebody's outside the door. He said he knows we're in here," Charlotte whispered. There was suddenly a large banging on the door. Annoyed, but not yet startled, I got out of bed. I wasn't that big of a guy, but I had been in fights before, so I wasn't scared easily. I peered out the peephole. Outside stood a man. He had to be almost 7 feet tall. He was wearing all black and was carrying a long metal object. He was staring directly into the peephole. "Get out here now, Joe. It's time to pay me. I know you're in there," he screamed. Suddenly realizing the gravity of the situation, I picked up my phone to call the police. To my dismay, the snowstorm knocked out phone service. "If you don't get out here now, I'm gonna come right in. And you won't like it when I do," the man screamed into the door. I told Charlotte to go into the bathroom and lock the door. She complied. "Listen, man, this has gotta be a mistake. I'm not Joe. I don't owe you or anyone money, man. I'm just trying to get some sleep," I stated to the man. The man paused for a second. He looked down at his feet. He started swinging what was now revealed to be a large crowbar back and forth, as if working on his golf swing. After what seemed to be a lifetime of waiting, he looked back up into the peephole. "Well, if you ain't Joe, then who the hell are you? Joe always stays in room 309 at this motel. It's his darn room. He basically lives here," the man said. "He isn't here, man. I'm telling you. Get out of here. I have a weapon," I screamed in an attempt to scare him off. As if emboldened by my threat, he lifted up his crowbar and tapped on the peephole. "I ain't your man. I'm gonna give you to the count of 3 to let me in, or I swear under Almighty God that I'm gonna knock this door down," the man declared, as he assumed a swinging position, as if he was playing baseball and the crowbar was his bat. Suddenly, the man swung at the door. At first, the door held up. only shaking a bit, but by the third hit, the frame started to give way. Finally, after one more especially powerful swing, the man knocked a large hole through the center of the door. He stuck his head in and grinned at me. It reminded me of a scene from some old horror movie. Charlotte came out of the bathroom with a metal shower curtain rod and quickly tossed it to me to use as a weapon. I swung it at the man, who had now fully stepped into our room. The rod hit the man in the face with a large thump. He didn't react whatsoever. It was as if he was on some sort of superhuman drugs. "Is that all you got, little man?" the man yelled as he came closer to me and Charlotte. The man swung the crowbar at us, and we both ducked. We were both diving to go into the bathroom when we heard a large clunk. The motel's receptionist defiantly stood over the intruder. He was holding a metal baseball bat. He hit the man square in the back of the head, knocking him out cold. A pool of blood slowly engulfed the area around his surely fractured skull. We went back to the lobby and called the police on the landline. The cops came and took the man to the hospital. We didn't bother staying the rest of the night at that godforsaken motel. It turned out that the man had the wrong room number. Joe was residing at room 903, not 309. There is no doubt that the receptionist saved our lives that night. This goes to show you, don't judge someone based on how they look. They just might be a hero. Story 3. My name's Charlie. I'm a 35-year-old guy. I haven't told anyone this story before, so here it goes. My best friend Sean was getting married, and I was his best man. Thus, it was my job to show him a good time before he tied the knot. I set up his bachelor party at a beach house a few states away. Me and our other best friend, Dave, were going to drive there to meet a group of friends at the beach house. There was nothing like a summer road trip with your friends. It was about 12 hours into our drive. It was slowly getting dark. I was driving us down a relatively uncrowded road. It wasn't some random street, but it also wasn't a major highway. We would see the occasional car, but it was really just us for the past hour or so. As we were getting ready to make a rest stop, we saw a person down the road. As we came closer, it became clear the person was a woman with her thumb out, making the traditional hitchhiker gesture. As we got even closer, we could see that this woman was extremely attractive. She had long brown hair and was wearing a bright red dress. Her smile was so perfect that it could have been right out of a toothpaste commercial. "Bro, you gotta pick up that girl. Jesus, look at her," Dave chimed in. "Yeah, man, looks like some sort of model or something," Sean declared. Okay, guys, let's see where she's going," I said cautiously. We slowed down next to the woman. She seemed to become more attractive as we got closer. Dave, who was riding in the back seat, pulled down his window. "Hey there, you looking for a ride, sweetheart?" Dave said, in a cocky way. "Hey, handsome, as long as I get to sit next to you," the woman said with a smile. "So where are you going exactly?" I asked, interrupting the flirty banter. "Just about 40 miles up this highway. I'm meeting some of my friends. It's her birthday," the woman said. "We're actually heading to a bachelor party right now. Maybe you all can come with us and make it a real party," Dave said confidently. "Oh boy, that sounds like fun. We would love that," the woman answered with yet another smile. Her smile was beautiful, but there was something a bit weird about it. I couldn't put my finger on it. It was just a bit too large, almost as if it was painted on some sort of mannequin. "Okay, hop in, honey," Dave said as he slid over to the empty seat next to him. The woman quickly opened the door and slid into the seat. She looked around intently for a moment, as if observing what was in the car, and smiled again. She just never stopped smiling. "I'm Ophelia, boys. Pleased to meet ya," she said in an enthusiastic way, as if she was some sort of peppy cheerleader. We each introduced ourselves, and I started driving again. Dave kept talking to her in the back. She kept laughing at every lame joke he told her. It was nauseating at that point. After a few more minutes of flirty banter, the woman was even closer to Dave. Her leg was slouched over his lap. Real respectable stuff, I thought to myself. Dave continued smooth-talking this overly enthusiastic woman for about a half hour. Sean and I said nothing and just listened to the exchange. "You know, you look like you could use a kiss. How about I come give you one?" Dave asked the woman as he leaned closer. Without a word, the woman began kissing Dave. At first, it was a passive, affectionate kiss. After a few seconds, it became more aggressive. They were really going at it. Her hands were around his face, pulling him even closer. It was gross. Suddenly, Dave pulled away and screamed. "You bit my tongue!" Dave screamed, as blood spewed out from his mouth and all over the car. I looked back. Dave was missing a chunk of his tongue. He held his face in his hands and screamed in pain. To our disgust, the woman seemed to be chewing. Blood slowly poured down her chin and onto her red dress. Her smile was bigger than ever. "Stop the car!" Sean yelled as he handed tissues to Dave, who was now sobbing. I quickly pulled over and stopped on the side of the road. Dave's mouth was bleeding faster than ever. "Get out of my car, you sicko!" I yelled to the woman. She didn't move. She started chuckling. Suddenly, she began rumbling off our personal information. Social security numbers, the names of our family members, occupations, home addresses. It was as if she knew us better than we knew ourselves. "Who the hell are you?" I yelled. "I'm someone special, Charlie. Someone that knows everything about you," she murmured. She suddenly started laughing maniacally. It was as if she was a patient in a mental asylum. Sean and I got out of the car, opened her door, and grabbed her. Her skin was ice cold. It was as if she was a corpse. We pushed her out of the car. She continued violently laughing, all with a large smile plastered across her face. Sean and I got back into the car and we locked the doors. "What the hell is wrong with her?" Sean yelled. We stared out the window. I was too shocked to even drive away. The woman continued laughing and staring directly at me. After a few seconds of this, she suddenly stopped laughing. A scowl came across her face. "Let's get out of here, man!" Dave screamed as he continued nursing his bleeding mouth. As soon as I turned the keys, the woman started screaming in a pitch so high that it didn't sound human. Suddenly, she started changing. Her previously youthful skin wrinkled up like a prune. Her brown flowing hair turned completely yellow. Her sensuous figure sagged and her back hunched forward. Most disturbingly, her pearl teeth turned yellow and green. As if in an instant this woman aged 80 years. "Drive!" Sean yelled as the woman began approaching the window. Needless to say, I floored it out of there. We got Dave medical attention and rescheduled the bachelor party. We were simply too freaked out. Never pick up a hitchhiker. Even if they look totally normal, you never know who or what you're going to pick up. Hey guys, Scare Central here. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and most importantly, share. I'm really trying to build a special community for horror fans. There will be new original stories every Monday and Thursday. If you want me to narrate your story, please let me know. Thank you for your support.